Right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Racecourse Ramble podcast. I will bring Richie in a minute. He's waiting patiently in the background, although I think he's melting the same as I am because it's so bloody warm. But thankfully, it's going to cool down tomorrow. But first of all, let me just sort of set the agenda for today. So we'll catch up with a bit of news and transfer news, and then we will talk our awards for the end of the season. I think I sent Richie about 6 different categories, I think it was, for us to choose our sort of award recipients. And obviously you can join in the chat and please, obviously, either in the live chat or in the comments whenever you're watching back, and let us know who won the awards for you. No problem. I will come and have a jump into the live chat in a second. So if you're brave enough to say hello, I will come in there in a sec. But let me first of all just give Kim a shout out to start with. So obviously, don't forget, if you're visiting Wrexham or you just want to go and do something, go on to WrexhamCityTours.com. Go and have a look at Kim's latest walking tours, and you can book on there. You can see she does sort of 3 different tours. You've got a heritage tour, the documentary tour, and then obviously there's a combination tour now as well. You can book your slot on the website, so it's no problem. Tells you everything, tells you how long you're going to be, tells you where you're going to meet and stuff beforehand. So yes, please go and follow Kim on social media. You can scan the QR code, or you can just go to WrexhamCityTours.com. I say you can do all your online booking on there, so that's really cool. So support local businesses, that's what they say. So go and support Kim, and that would be really, really much appreciated. Right, let's bring His Highness in. Good evening, Richie. How are you?
I'm very well, not bad.
He's got his towel. He's got and he's got a fan. What happened last time we had a fan? Was it too noisy? I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah, mine is like an industrial one. It's too loud. So
for our friends across the pond who don't realise, like, we don't do air conditioning over here because we only need it for about 3 weeks, don't we?
Yeah, it's like by the time you book an engineer to come out, it's gone.
It's winter again. So that's the problem, is we don't do air conditioning, and then we flap around as soon as it gets over about 25 degrees. We're all struggling. And we did have a lovely big storm last night, but that didn't clear the air at all, bizarrely. But it is meant to drop tomorrow, so that is our saving grace, is that it is going to supposedly get better tomorrow. What you been up to this week? Anything exciting, Richie, or just working and sunbathing?
Went to watch rugby league on Sunday. Let's just say it was more. There was a cricket match going on behind it, and I don't know if they got the scores the wrong way round.
Oh dear.
Because I think it was 110-10, something like that. I think.
Right.
They couldn't fit the 100 on the scoreboard. So
Crusaders, who are struggling at the moment as they rebuild their the club, really, aren't they?
Yeah, so they got a big game this week up in Salford, so we'll go and support them then. And the first home game since they sort of got back together.
Right. Okay.
So and I like the sun, I must admit.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
it's nice to sit out in it and have a beer or whatever and just chill out. But
yeah, sales of portable paddling pools go up at this time of year, don't they? Just for people to sit in or put their feet in, and you'll see people everywhere. But yeah, air conditioning is a luxury. So this is the problem. I've got a fan on the floor here going. Without it, I would be dripping with sweat. And I'd say there's a window here, and that's the main window out, and that's where the sun is right now. And I can feel the heat radiating at the moment. So
maybe we'll stop after 20 minutes and we'll have a drinks break.
Let's have a drinks break. Like they do in all the games, I think, all the playoff games. And we will talk about them in a minute in the news, just because obviously we, it has been settled now, hasn't it? The sort of the playoffs and stuff. I'm enjoying some peace and quiet. Kath is in Mallorca. She's gone with Emily to Mallorca till Sunday. So I'm just enjoying the peace and quiet and being able to do what I want. I couldn't really go from work, so they've gone without me, and they're lapping it up. They're out at some Italian restaurant or something tonight. So, yeah, how the other half live, innit?
It's nice if you can, isn't it?
Nice if you can. I agree. I absolutely agree. All right. There's not actually that much going on in the world, so we'll be fairly efficient tonight, I think. He says. So let's should we crack on with news? Oh no, let me go and see. Sorry, I forgot. I did say. Let me just give some shout outs to the people who have been brave enough to say hello. As we continue to try and regain our followers, Richie, we are up to about 35% of the followers that we had before the channel went walkabout. So don't ask me where the other 60 odd percent have gone, but perhaps perhaps it's a good thing for them. Perhaps they didn't want to subscribe to us, Richie. I don't know.
Timing end of the season, that's what we put it down to.
Put it down. Yeah, all right, let's go with that. Yeah. Let's go with that. All right. So good evening to Emma. Emma Roberts is here. Nick Donnellan is here. Buddies Quaker is here. Ingram Zallo. Hopefully I said that right. John Hills is here. Liz is here. Welsh Techie is here. Did I say Nick? I think I said Nick. John Hills, Welsh Techie again. Lots of repetition in there. So, yeah, if you've been brave enough to say hello in the chat, thank you very much. Yeah, let's just pick up with some bits of news and stuff first before we talk transfers. Or there's nothing too good in the transfer news at the moment. There's nothing too genuine. So that's the only thing. Just sort of dates for your diary to start with. I pinched this from a Southampton site, actually, this graphic. So just for some clarity, if you want to mark your calendars, the 15th of June is when the transfer window opens. The 25th of June is when we get the fixtures released. So stand by your beds for that. Obviously, the 14th of August is the weekend that everything kicks off from a football point of view. And we'll talk about something there that I haven't put in here. We'll talk about Phil Parkinson's comments, actually, about that. And then the 1st of September at 11 o'clock, I think it's a Tuesday. So that's when the transfer window will close. So inevitably, we might be doing a live stream as Parky does a trolley dash. Because I'm expecting a very late summer transfer window again, to be honest. I think it's going to be one of them. But that's just because I've heard a few people talking about Phil Parkinson made some comments. I think they were picked up in the Leader. I don't know if you already know what I was going to say, Richie. Yeah. He basically said that because there's a very early, obviously a Carabao Cup game that's always quite early, but it's very early this year because of obviously the World Cup throwing everything out. And he said that was going to be used as like a pre-season friendly. That had annoyed some people. I just wanted to know what your take was on that.
Yeah, I'm one of the ones he's annoyed as well. God. I don't think somebody professional should be making a comment like that. Listen, we've gone over the pond and we're playing these great Premier League teams and that, whatever. But we have, I could name now teams in the Championship. We've actually got to the semi-final stage of the Carabao Cup. I'm thinking, go back a few years, obviously, but, Nigel Clough, Sheffield United, they got there for a couple of years running. There's a few more who got there, and you never know, do you? There's a lot of change going on in the Premier League next year with managers. You just never know. It's a look at the draw as well. But to me, it's a comment you shouldn't have made. I don't think that it helps anybody. And, we may get a big team. We may get Wolves, because they'll be in it, because they're coming down from the Premier League, and that will probably, the crowd will take care of itself. But it's not a nice thing to hear, really. I think, especially at the end of a successful season of where we are, I just think you might say that internally, but don't put it outside.
Interesting. I am the opposite end of the scale, I think, to you. And I'll tell you for why. It's become, pre-season has become, over the last, 10 to 15 years, is not what pre-season used to be, is it? For most teams, it's a money-making sort of exercise now, rather than a footballing exercise, really. And I'm still adamant that if you asked a lot of these managers, they would have very different pre-seasons to what they end up having to do, because the commercial departments make them do these tours, don't they? Especially in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And we're lucky from that perspective that there's interest in Wrexham, isn't there, to go and get the money in by playing abroad. But it's become very clear to me that the first month of a season became like a mini pre-season. And I often think that Wrexham have been underprepared going into the first opening games. And I think you see it in other Premier League teams as well. And I think it's just become the norm for me. I've accepted it now. So that's the reason why it didn't make me irate, because I kind of accepted that the first month is this like a mini pre-season as with a bit more competitive games in it than those games that we'll have in America, for instance. So I wasn't so bothered by it. I kind of, I say I'd seen lots of people talking about it who'd said that they didn't think he should publicly say that. But I've accepted it now, for it is what it is. And I just think it's the norm. I think it's the way of the world. So that's why it didn't bother me. But I could understand why somebody would be thinking, "What is that really the right thing to say or do?" I think I'd say I've just accepted it now. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because obviously he could be still giving game time to squad players like he would have in the Carabao Cup anyway, or it could be first teamers just getting a bit. So it might sound worse than it actually is. That's all I would
think
say.
Normally we find out when the team sheet comes out, don't we?
Yeah.
Of the day of the game.
Yeah.
And this is where it's a bit, we all go, oh, well, you can see what he's doing there. He's making sure everyone gets a run out, getting minutes, catching up. I think it's just because he's alerted to it in May.
Yeah.
Sort of say what's going to happen in August, and everyone's like, what?
Yeah. No, I get it. I do get it. I'm just used to it now. I say I've just accepted it. So let's see what it actually looked like before. It's not worth getting people getting het up about it until we see, because we might be playing, I don't know, somebody terrible, and it might not matter anyway. But yeah, let's just do our usual touch on the documentary, because obviously we did have another documentary episode last week. It was an enjoyable episode, but I didn't have the same emotional impact for me as episodes 1 and 2. Again, we won't spoil it for anybody by sort of revealing too much, because not everybody can watch it straight away. So I'm conscious of that. But it was still it was still a good episode of the documentary. Lovely to see a little bit of Kiefer Moore and a little bit of Josh Windass. I was with Trina the cleaner this morning outside the Turf Butty van, which I'll tell you about in a minute if you want. But no Trina this week. I don't think that they know. That clip is a bit older than it's portrayed, having spoken to her this morning. So I think we've caught them off guard by the reaction to Trina. I think I'm not sure we'll necessarily see too much more of her. Although obviously we'll wait and see. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was a filler episode or anything. But there was a lot of emotion in those first 2 episodes, wasn't there? Because of Joey and what have you. So it lacked that. This one, it was more just a story continuation, I thought.
Yeah, I think it was nice to obviously meet some of the new players. Because obviously, if we go with Josh, there was a sort of a feeling amongst people that he doesn't care type of thing, or he doesn't celebrate his goals, so he doesn't really want to. Does he really want to be in all that type of thing, palaver? But he's just a normal guy, normal family guy. I think I won't go into too. I'll mention is I like the thing with the dog. I think that's clever.
Yeah, that says a lot about him, I thought. But
Yeah, and and Kiefer, it's obviously with the Wales hat on as well. We don't get to see, they don't open the doors to these footballers. You've had different shows like Come and See My Crib, and they show off the house and all that, whatever. But there's none of that in our documentary. It's all very, quite calm, isn't it? Quite relaxing. They just sort of, I'm not sure how long they spend in the house, but, it's just nice to see, really, and show that they are just normal people, aren't they, off the pitch?
Yeah, I get it. So, yeah, we've got obviously another episode coming up tomorrow, because obviously it's Thursday today. So tomorrow we'll get another episode. They're cracking on. They, as has been spoken by other people, I am glad they've gone past this Cardiff game, because that was not a game I wanted to relive again. It was one of the most disappointing parts of the season, which is we might even talk about that when we get to the awards. But yeah, I mean, it's very polished. They know what they're doing now, don't they? They know exactly the buttons to press. Yeah, I say move the story on. Let's just leave it sort of slightly vague at that, if we can. All right, let's talk playoffs, because we can now confirm what the championship will look like this season. So let me just in case you've somehow fallen off the face of the earth, I will tell you who is in the championship this season in alphabetical order. So we've got obviously Birmingham, Blackburn, Bolton, which we'll talk about, Bristol City, Burnley, Cardiff, Charlton, Derby, Lincoln, Middlesbrough, Millwall. Millwall's new kit, by the way. If you go on X and look for Millwall Kit League, oh my lord, their home kit is elite. It might be the best one I've seen. Norwich, Portsmouth, Preston, QPR, Sheffield United, Southampton, boo, Stoke City, Swansea, Watford, West Brom, West Ham were confirmed at the end, and we already knew Wolves, and obviously ourselves were in it. So, Richie, that is going to be a quite competitive league on the face of it, you would think.
Yeah. I think, obviously, last year we knew of the troubles of, say, Sheffield Wednesday, and people, all sort of earmarked Oxford and things like that, whatever. But straight away, I don't think you can go, oh, they'll be in the bottom three. I think even having watched everybody last year, and obviously, we've seen the teams that have come down and teams that have come up. People can go, oh, Lincoln, when you go, well, hang on a minute, they run away with League One. They were streets ahead of everybody in League One. There's obviously going to be a transition period for them, but they're used to winning. That counts a lot yeah, definitely. So it's going to be really interesting, and it just backs it up. Everyone says anyone could beat anyone, can't they? On any weekend of the championship. But I think the ones coming down for the Premier League this time, I think they're in for a bit of a rude awakening, because they're going to find it's not as easy as what they think. They'll all say they want to go back up straight away. Yeah, but they may not find it very easy.
Yeah, it was interesting. Obviously, we knew Wolves and Burnley were already down, and then West Brom fell. All were confirmed. I think it was pretty obvious in the end, but I think obviously West Ham was confirmed. They've got trouble on and off the field. Obviously, they're going to have to reshape that squad. The money that they're going to not be getting. They've got issues off the field, as I say. It's going to be fascinating to see who stays and who goes. Obviously, they've confirmed that the manager's going to stay, but they've got the fans are on their back. They don't like that stadium. It's whilst it sounds cheap, it'll actually be a bit of a noose round their neck next season, because obviously they're not getting as much money as they were in the Premier League. Yeah, and
obviously West Ham have been down before, but it was a long time ago. So it's a ground where a lot of people haven't been before. If you sort of take Wolves and Burnley out of it or whatever, and obviously Southampton when they were in the Premier League. So it is a big away day for everybody, isn't it? To go there. It doesn't look like a great experience, if I'm honest. Maybe the same guy who sells the binoculars against Southampton can sell them at the London Stadium as well, because I think you'll need them.
Is it the half and half scarf sellers that sell the binoculars as well?
Yeah, because it's going to be. I wonder. Just we'll touch on fixtures later on in the coming months, but I wonder whether that's us. West Ham away, first game on a Friday night.
I hadn't even thought about the TV games and the scheduling and stuff yet.
Because that's what they want to be. Like you say, turmoil with West Ham. They are the biggest sort of team of the three who's come down. Yeah. So they, little old Wrexham going to West Ham away on a Friday night, probably.
Yeah. No, I think people are starting to do early predictions for the league as well. I think you're wasting your time because you don't know who's coming and going in the squad yet, do you? So it'll be fascinating to see who the likes. See, like Burnley will be really unfancied because it's not a fashionable side, but they went up quite convincingly if you think about it. The year that they went up, and I know they'll have different manager etc. now to who took them up, but they've still got some very decent players who've got experience of getting promotion.
Well, their scouting network is obviously one of the best at this level.
Yeah, Belgium because and all sorts they get from.
Because when they come down, they go straight back up.
Yeah.
So it shows it's good for the Championship level. It's just that they want some of them players to kick on at Premier League level, and they don't. Or if they are any good, they're going to get snapped up, aren't they, by the bigger teams?
What they didn't do is what Sunderland did. Excuse me, which was basically spend about 150, 200 million quid to make sure that they stayed in that division. And as ironically, they got European football, Sunderland, didn't they? Let's just touch on the teams that came up, actually. And obviously, I'm more interested in the Bolton game because obviously Bolton and Stockport played. Bolton ran riot, really, against that Stockport side. And Sam Dolby did what Sam Dolby does, he says. I'm saying that in inverted air quotes because it's made me laugh, actually, the revisionism amongst Wrexham fans who all of a sudden, I was talking to Nat about this at the Turf Putty van this morning. All of a sudden, Sam Dolby was this great player who did really well when he was at Wrexham. It was a shame to lose him, and I'm listening and I'm reading people saying this stuff, and I'm like, nobody was saying that when he was here. Just have the courage of your convictions to say what you said when he was here. And what you said was it didn't work for him at Wrexham. And the fact that he's got it together now because he can get a regular run of games, well, that's all credit to him. But it's dead funny listening to the revisionism of people sort of saying it was like, oh, maybe we should go out and we should have kept him, or if we might have even gone and bought him now. That's not what people were saying at the time, in the ground and outside.
No, definitely. Listen, all I will say is when he was with us, he had a good touch. I think we could see that. He had a good footballing brain, but he was never going to get the run of games that strikers need. He's never going to score you 20 goals.
Yeah.
He did listen, people could say, oh, well, he turned the contract down. I've heard that as well. Listen, that contract was just to say we made a contract offer. It wouldn't have been great numbers.
So you could get compensation, I think.
Yeah.
Was what was.
He went up to Scotland, obviously, did well there. And then he got him his move to Bolton. And, he's done well in League One. But let's be honest about it. There's a lot of people do well in League One. Let's see how we get on the Championship. Yeah. It's a different league completely, as we all know. Different level. I'm chuffed for him and glad that, really chuffed that he scored a goal against that lot.
A good goal as well, wasn't it? It was a really
it was,
taken. And he had a sort of assist in another goal.
Yeah, so he did well, and if he'd had long hair, he probably would have got another penalty as well. Just the way that
that was a funny one. Is that the second or third hair pull penalty that there's been now?
Yeah.
And where are these all coming from? How come now all of a sudden everyone's getting pens for hair pulls?
It's, do you know what? When I seen it, I thought of Kabore come to my mind straight away because we said obviously we knew he was going to give a penalty away at some point. We didn't know when. Yeah. Obviously, we didn't have the VAR in the Championship, but obviously, there's a bit more scrutiny in the officials. You say they're meant to be of a higher level. But it got VAR at Wembley.
Yes, where did that come from all of a sudden? I know.
Why on earth would you just don't give him any reason or excuse? But I wonder if something's going to happen where are these players going to try and put it inside their shirt or something, their hair, or do you know what I mean? It's what's going to, somebody will think of something, won't they?
Yeah, well, if you're a player, it benefits you to have it out in case somebody grabs it. That's the only thing I would say. But let's see whether next season whether they decide to interpret it differently or not, because. A little air pull isn't necessarily always a foul. The same way a little kick isn't always a foul. So we'll let's see. Still rumbling on at Southampton. That's good. That's going to be a story to watch for a little while, isn't it? Because there's rumours of players wanting a bit of cash, and clubs might make a claim if they think they've got some legal grounds. I think the manager still hasn't been sacked. They've got rid of, was it the head of scouting or something that his head's fallen, but that's going to rumble on for a few more weeks yet, that I suspect, until the FA complete their investigation into Eckhart.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think the owner, when he come over, he should have just really said he's gone, the manager. He said all the evidence in front of him. You know, and ironic, it's cost him a chance of getting to the Premier League. Everyone kept saying a place in the Premier League. It wasn't a foregone conclusion they were going to win it.
Yeah.
And then I just think that would have then sort of says it sends a message out to everybody and the players, doesn't it? Because they've been accused of all along since the start of it, Southampton, of not really owning what they did.
Yes.
And that, I'm not saying it's not going to stop the stick that they're going to get next year. Far from it. But you just look at it and you go, well, do you know what? And it gets reported then, doesn't it? Southampton have took actions immediately. They've done this, they've done that. And like you say, you've got players who might sue the club. How on earth can he, he's got an holiday now, the manager. So how on earth is he going to get a phone call on his son lounging in Barbados and say, oh, you need to come back to Wembley, ironic, for a hearing?
I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. But I think that's got a couple of. I think that's going to keep rumbling away in the background until we get the outcome of this Man City thing as well, because there's a lot of chatter about that being imminent, isn't there? I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah.
This week they think that that could be a major points deduction and a transfer ban. So that will then dominate the football headlines whenever that drops. And the rumor is we'll get that before the World Cup, but let's see, because we've had these rumors before. I think Christmas they said it was coming, but no, I think it's going to be fascinating to see. They weren't particularly the playoff game to get out of the Championship wasn't particularly a great game, and obviously, I mean, we went to Hickory's to watch it with some of the Wrexham Women supporters group. Luke, who might still be watching, organised an event and then didn't turn up himself. But
I tell you, he must have forgot to message me. I didn't come through.
But just as that attack unfolded, I said, "Oh, don't let him cross it to McBurney." And then what happened? They crossed it. The goalkeeper sort of got some fingertips to it, and it fell to Ollie McBurney of all the people. But that was a crap game, really, wasn't it? There's too much at stake in that game for it to ever be a barnstormer.
What I must say, I don't know whether Southampton found this out, but Middlesbrough must just play on 60-yard pitches because they don't do sod all in penalty boxes. They just play in between them.
The final third, they can't, can they?
It was amazing. It was. I've seen better games. Let's put it that way. It wasn't there. It wasn't great.
But it's tough because there is, those players have all got massive sort of bonuses and wage increases on it, so nobody wants to make a mistake. And they call it the richest game in football. It's gone, funnily enough, over the course of about a week. It went from a £150 million game to being a £250 million game. Not quite sure how that happened, but it is basically a sort of a ton 50, and it's there's just so much on it. It's very rarely a good game, that Championship one. The other ones seem to be okay. But
yeah, they were. I've seen a bit of both of them. They were good.
All right. Anything else you want to add about the playoffs and the way the league's fallen, or anything else EFL related before we talk transfers?
I just think the EFL were relieved. I think. Shall we say that whole one?
Yeah, because on the day of the game, actually, the whole chairman came out
an
and
hour
said he
before,
would sue. Yeah. He said he would sue if they didn't get promoted. And obviously Rob messaged something quite nice about Hull, didn't he, afterwards? So yeah, anybody but McBurney. Of all the people, it had to be Ollie McBurney, didn't it? So yeah, all right, cool. Let's help Mike and Hayley out before we talk transfers. So poor old Hayley's had a right nightmare of a week, hasn't she? So for people who don't know, Mike and Hayley have got 2 businesses inside the building at Hemblash Street. There's MH Travel, who we do away football travel with, day trips, theatre trips, holidays, all on the coach or coaches. So concert travel, all that type of stuff. So you can pop in, see what they've got on. They have got a board in the window and they've got a board inside, so you can see what's going on. But also Hayley normally does MH Tatoes, and you can go and get a nice jacket spud or a very healthy Buddha bowl, and get some nutritious scran. However, Hayley's had a nightmare this week, so she's had car issues, so she hasn't even been able to get to work. So not only can she not get to work, obviously they're not making money because that part of the business isn't open, which has been an absolute nightmare for her. Ironically, Che sent me a message, said, I've been to MH Travel today and he said, I've been to MH Tatoes today and guess what? They're closed. So I said, well, Che, you would have known this if you would have been following them on social media. And this is why you're supposed to follow these people on social media. So if you're local, make sure that you are following them on Facebook or Instagram or X, where they update regularly. And you would have known that they're not open because they've been posted every day to tell you that they're not open. But when they are open, go and visit them. As I said, support the local businesses, keep the town going. So you've got 2 businesses inside there, and you can also talk to them about rugby league. So they go with, in fact, they're doing the food at the rugby league, I believe. Richie, is that right? They've got one of they're doing jacket potatoes at the Crusaders.
Yeah, they're doing hospitality on Sunday. Mike organised the bus for us last Saturday as well.
Right.
But what I would say is, if you've been this week and they've been closed, go tomorrow and Saturday and buy 2.
Yeah, go and make up for it. I agree. So let's talk transfers. There's not a lot. There's not a lot happening here, but there was one story that came out that is of interest because it's come out before, and this time it's come out from a very, very, very reliable source. Right. So Ben Jacobs, who's if you don't follow him on social media, you should do, because he is across transfers at all sorts of levels. Came out with this. He called it as an exclusive. I'll tell you what, if you've been listening to this podcast for weeks, you'll have known this information already. Rangers have made a fresh approach to Josh Windass to discuss bringing him back to Ibrox. It follows an attempt in January, which Wrexham rebuffed. Move driven by Danny Roll, who obviously was Windass's manager at Sheffield Wednesday. No club-to-club talks yet. Wrexham had indicated that they didn't want to sell in January. There's comments obviously today from Phil Parkinson doing the official club line, which is he's not for sale. We want to get better. We don't want to get worse. We want to keep our best players. Yada yada yada. I've told you this before. I was privy. I can't tell you how, but I was privy to this information that they have been chasing him really, really hard, Richie. Really hard. But he was got to choose my words carefully here. He's not desperate to go anywhere. But like anybody, I think if the finances involved suit everybody, I think he would potentially go back. Because if somebody else will pay you more to do your job, then you've got to consider it, haven't you? But he is settled in the area now. He lives not far away from 20 minutes, excuse me, 20 odd minutes outside of Wrexham. And Danny Roll, I'm going to tell you this, which is what Ben Jacobs has said, and I've been telling you this before. Danny Roll is really, really trying hard to take him to Rangers. So you see that from a reliable source, Richie. What's your gut instinct telling you?
I didn't realise he's 32. Which brings brings something into it for me at that age. Now, obviously, he signed a 3-year contract as well. He's a year gone. Now, from the outskirts, I would say, I don't think Rangers can afford him. I know their owners are rich, got a lot of money, but let's just say they wasted a lot of money last year and it didn't get them anywhere. Maybe it wasn't Danny Rolls the manager, to be fair, but they're going to have to sell a lot to even contemplate. If somebody come in Rangers and said, here's 7-8 million for Josh Windass, I would let him go for that.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that. I'll tell you that now for a fact. But yes, I understand. It's just too good to turn down.
Yeah, until then figures are reached, he goes nowhere. I don't think he is going to push for the move. He ain't going to go into Phil Parkinson to the 1st of July and say, I want to go to Rangers. As well as he might have got on with Danny Rowell. You can have the best friends, but at the end of the day, I don't even know if Rangers could afford him. I've heard all the Rangers fans going up, we don't want him.
Trying to get him tells you that they already know they can afford him in terms of wages, because they'll have discussed that already.
But I don't see it happening at all. I don't think he's. I think he wants to play in the Premier League. He said that quite a few times. Maybe not to our sort of press network, but he has said on other shows or whatever, his dream is to play in the Premier League.
Okay.
I don't think he's chuffed about going to play Dunfermline away next year, to be honest. Or St Mirren, So I think that's, and he's got, he dips his toe in sometimes with Sky as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which and Wrexham does raise a profile.
You criticise Connor Cody for that. I'll just
no, that's because he works for every network.
Dear. No, I think the important thing, you've hit the important thing on the head here. That the reality is that football moves happen normally because players want a move to happen. So they manipulate it between the agents, etc. That they'll make it happen. And as soon as a player says, "Listen, I'm not going to kick a football for you again unless this move happens," all of a sudden you might have had ideas of getting £5 million plus, but you ain't going to get it because you've got somebody who's stood on your training ground, either refusing to do it, or as we know, the stories of players who interfere in training. They kick footballs randomly in random directions just to get, to annoy people. And I'm not saying Josh would do that, but those are the types of antics that go on behind the scenes. I think people don't have no idea the antics that go on behind the scenes at football clubs. So I think I don't think it would. I think Wrexham would sell him for less than what you're thinking. But I think it's irrelevant because, and I think Wrexham are keen to keep him. He seems happy to be here. At the point he asks to move, he forfeits his loyalty bonus that he would have been promised when he signed his contract. So that's normally why players don't always sort of, unless they're going to be really over rewarded at the other end to make up for forfeiting the bonus, then that's why normally they don't sort of do it. They let their agent and the clubs stir up the trouble, don't they? So that they're not losing out financially. I'm not willing to rule it out. That's the thing.
And the reason I come up with that figure,
go enough. I don't think Rangers are going to go enough for Wrexham to do anything from our perspective. I think it's down to him, and he doesn't sound desperate to make it happen currently, off what I've heard.
He's the 4th highest goal scorer in the Championship last season.
Yeah,
and with obviously with assists and that, whatever. I would be more. This is good. I'd be more thinking if Hull came in for him.
Yeah, well, that's the follow-up. The follow-up to the Windass one is: do Hull now come back for Lewis O'Brien? Because there was that rumor, wasn't there? Was it 2 weeks ago? We
before the semi-final, I think it was. Yeah,
or was it before the semi-final? Yeah, so that was the other sort of fallout piece, is that we've got a club that we knew wanted Lewis O'Brien in the first place when we got him. Then there's this rumor again that they were going to come back for him, and now obviously they've been promoted. Is there a chance they come back in for him?
It's all new territory for us, isn't it, now? Because we've never had this where people are interested in our players. And I mean that as in the last sort of 3 to 4 years, because, we've been renowned paying the highest wages. There's people we've lost out on, don't get me wrong. We haven't got everybody who we've gone after.
No.
But it's a new... Yeah, it's a new thing now for us to deal with, and it shows that obviously we're doing something right by people are interested in our players. But it says every player's got a price, hasn't he? And Parky will know, he'll have that figure. Sean Harvey will have a different figure, probably a little bit higher. And if someone comes in, if someone gives you a couple of million more than what you paid for him, and you look at it and then you go, well, he didn't end of the season. He wasn't in the team. He was coming off the bench. As much as I like Lewis O'Brien, if Hull come in and we take 6 million off him, it's not a problem for me.
Yeah, I do. I want to watch that is for an outgoing one, because if they're going to promise him more football, guaranteed starts and a higher level, that one is something that just might tick over, and that one might happen. So that one will be interesting to see if the rumours sort of get stronger on that one. The other one that was there was a funny one. There was sort of mid-table Premier League clubs looking at Callum Doyle, which I don't know. I'd be surprised. I'm not sure he's got the pace for some of the Premier League clubs, but I don't know. What do you think? I
laughed when I heard it.
Yeah, from the fact that you don't think he would consider it, or that you don't think he's that sort of level yet.
I've seen obviously other people speak about saying that he would be a definite starter if we went up. Hang on, have you watched the Premier League lately?
Yeah, it's too fast.
Yeah, it's definitely too fast for him. And for me, he probably at the level he's at now. But listen, he's got the attributes as in passing. He's got the head.
Yes, yeah, he's a footballer.
But you have to be literally an athlete.
Yeah,
in the Premier League, and Hull will find that out. I think very, very soon.
Yeah,
you just have to, and you got to look at. Listen, there's no harm in you making a career out of it when obviously leaving Manchester City, but all players find their level, don't they? And I just think that, listen, he had a good season. He did really well, but let's be really, really honest about this now. Could you really, really see him playing against, say, Saka from Arsenal?
It wouldn't be pretty. I mean, defensively he has his moments. He's a youngish player learning his career. Defensively he has his moments, but yeah, those top end teams would run riot. I think that's what immediately when it was the same. Do you remember when we had those Max Cleworth rumours about
Aston Villa? Yeah, Aston Villa.
And it just didn't ring true for me. I just thought, no, doesn't. No chance. And that's what I think about Callum Doyle. I think he can have a career in the Championship and be successful. I think he can possibly go to a bottom end team. Depending on what their situation is, they might need a homegrown player or something. They might want a left footer. So there is room for it, but not sure a middle to top half team. I'm not sure. I don't think they would be looking at him, but that's good for us though, because it means we keep him for a while. So and he was good for that second half of the season, wasn't he?
I think if he ever got a Premier League move, I think it would be like a case of a Burnley and a Wolves who knew they were coming down.
Yeah,
knew they were coming down, so that they were good. They were aiming to get in the top end of the Championship the following year. So he gets used to the environment. He may get a couple of games, but it's all about chances, isn't it? You have to take your chance sometimes when you get it, but not as a Premier League starter for me.
No, I'd be surprised given what I've seen of the Premier League, and as I said, the way that they're athletes now. They're like Olympic athletes, some of them.
Yeah.
Andrew said if we lose Windass, we should bring in Harry Wilson. Wrexham could not afford Harry Wilson.
If we sell Lewis O'Brien, Lewis O'Brien for 5 or 6, and Windass for 7, we might have him.
He's a free agent this year, isn't he, Harry Wilson? Yeah. He's a free agent. He's going to get a contractor. I think it's Villa and Everton who want him, and you're talking north of 125 to 150,000 quid a week.
Aston Villa, I would go with Aston Villa. Champions League. He would test himself.
Because of the fact he's a free agent, the money that was normally a transfer fee ends up being in the player and the agent's pocket instead, doesn't it? So that bumps up the salary. So the Wrexham couldn't afford him. Not a chance. So and as I said, he'll end up. Villa has been the ones strongest linked to him because I think they're going to replace Harvey Elliott with him, who had a really tough time, didn't he?
If you look at Aston Villa, if they sell Morgan Rogers,
which is rumoured he's going to go to Arsenal for 80 million now. Yeah.
If you sell him to get a free transfer in,
yeah,
it helps their PSR massively.
Yeah.
Because they haven't paid a transfer fee and they can they can give the wages. So it makes business sense. But Harry Wilson wants to play in the Champions League. He's done that level now. He wants to go, and I think he's 27. So, good on him. Get a big contract, 4-year contract at Villa.
Yeah. No, but now you've said that, it does make. And as I said, they took, for people who don't know, they took Harvey Elliott on loan from Liverpool, didn't they? And they had a clause in the contract that as soon as he played 10 games, they had to complete a transfer. I don't know what the fee was. Was it about 20 or 30 million quid? I think was the thing. And the rumor is that the guy who was in charge of recruitment at the time at Villa, Monchi, thought that that although they had to complete the deal, they would have to complete it at the end of the season. Whereas the contract actually said, as soon as he's played his 10th game, you need to transfer us the money. So therefore, he played 8 or 9 games very quickly, and then has missed the whole second half of the season because they didn't want to play him in case he because they didn't want to trigger that clause. So the funny quirks and clauses that are in contracts. So
quite ironic. He's got squad number 9 on as well.
Did he have squad number 9? Yeah. Well, I think he was regarded as a real big thing, wasn't he? He won did England win the under 21 Euro or whatever it was? I've lost track now, and he was a major player in that. And Liverpool saw it was a good opportunity to get some pure profit by selling a homegrown player, because they were obviously buying Isak and Ekitike and God knows who else they bought.
Verts,
so they spent a fortune. So they saw it as a good move financially. But obviously, it's turned into a horror story for him. And now he would potentially have been in the World Cup squad, Richie, wouldn't he? If he'd have had a really good season, he would have been as a squad player, not a starter. He would have been a squad player in the World Cup squad if he'd have had an exceptional season. And obviously, he hasn't kicked a ball for the whole second half of the season. So, all right. Sean Jones has just checked in. Good evening, Sean. Let's just see this before we move on. Sorry, I'm late. Just watching from the start, and you mentioned losing subscribers. I was subscribed. For some reason, it disappeared. I'm not sure, Sean. He said maybe others have lost their subscription as well. You might not know the story that we lost the old channel and we've had to start a new channel, Sean. So it might have been that in your case, but obviously not sure. So yes. Double check, people, if you are watching, just double check in case you're not subscribed to obviously the current channel. Have you heard anything else transfer wise? I've heard nothing. Or I think it's too early for Wrexham. I think there might be one coming fairly early, and then I think it'll be, because we want quality and not quantity this time. I think they'll cherry pick in the second half of the window.
Well, somebody who Wrexham should look at on Sunday. Right. And I've done a bit of scouting myself as well.
Oh, some YouTube scouting or what?
No, this is a little bit. But so the person who gave me on Sunday said Wrexham should have a look at Andy Todd, believe it or not, who plays for Dunfermline. The guy with the goggles.
Oh, right.
He's 19, but just to keep an eye on him, And listen, a lot of teams do, don't they? They buy him, let him go back for a year.
That's the right way to do it, yeah.
19 years of age. Yeah. So, and I've seen some of his clips. He looks a good player. It's whether are we looking in that sort of area?
Are we looking to do that or what? Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one who I found is, believe it or not, he plays for Philadelphia.
Oh, God.
In America, in MLS, is Milan Losky, striker.
All right. Okay.
Now, he scored a hat-trick against Lionel Messi's Inter Miami last week.
Yeah.
He's 25, I believe. I've looked at his stats of his career. Striker, mobile, 5'9". So I was thinking, how can he be on the doorstep of one of our owners? Have we looked at him maybe? Have we not looked at him? Have we looked at that market at all? Just be interested, just striker of... The thing is, when Swansea signed their guy, they didn't know if he was going to. They didn't know if he's going to do it in the Championship or not, did they?
Yeah, I get it. These are some of the gamble on when players are moving countries and leagues. a bit like we did with Kakache, you're taking a gamble because you don't know whether they're going to settle or whether they're going to be able to handle the physicality, which I think is what Kakache struggled with.
Because
it's a gamble.
You look at the American, there's Altidore, he went to Derby. He went for a big fee, didn't he?
Wasn't Altidore, it was Adjumang.
Was it? So, and you look at it and you think, well, he scored a few, but he didn't hit the world of light, did he? But you've also got to realise what team, I mean, they finished just behind us, don't get me wrong, but...
Yeah, I get it.
No, that was just a name that you never know, do you? It's just...
No. I still, if we were going to bring somebody from the MLS, I'd still bring Sam Surridge back, who, if you remember, he was at Forest and then he went out to Nashville, was it? I think, and he played out there. And he's a prolific striker who's 6'3", 6'4", fairly quick, good finisher. He's the one I always think of whenever I hear MLS. But no, Andrew just said, do you think we'll sign players at the very end of the window like we did last year? I honestly think that experience tells you that's when players become available that you don't normally sort of give access to as chess pieces move around. And I suspect that it'll be similar, is my gut instinct. I just think that Terry Devlin one might happen a bit earlier because they need some darts practice, don't they? And Terry will take his dart shirt and he'll sort them out, won't he?
Well, we have to buy our shirts as well.
We are going to have to do that. I digress. All right, is that it? Is that all of them? I can't think of any others.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll keep our eyes to the ground, but say some of them straight away when you hear them, you're like, it just doesn't make sense. But let's see what happens. All right, let's go on to a sort of more of a talking point now, I guess is what we would say. We're in award season, Richie. It is time for some awards, the podcast awards. I sent you a graphic, which was basically last year's sort of categories. So hopefully you've had time to think about this and you've thought it through. I'm not going to necessarily do it in the order they were there. Have you written them down? Do you know? Are you settled on them? You know what's going on? All right. So obviously the club did theirs virtually straight away after the season, but it's nice just to ponder things and let things sort of manifest and see how we feel about things. So let's kick off in no particular order. Let's start with young player of the season. Because I think this is probably a bit of an easy one, is it? Because if you think about that sort of category, there's kind of only Arthur and Doyle who were in that sort of that age group, and maybe the end of the season influenced it one way or the other for you, given that somebody was dropped and somebody else was doing really well. But who did you pick as your sort of young player of the season?
Callum Doyle, I went for.
Oh, I've not heard of him. Is he any good?
He can't play the Premier League, but he's sort of bad. I would say a bit of a shaky start. Yeah. But obviously he got that sending off as well, yeah. And he missed pre-season. I think that was the big thing. Because obviously we're built on a strong back line, quite solid.
Yeah, normally.
Even though we just conceded the most goals we've ever have.
That's why I said normally, yeah.
But no, I think he came into it, and I think he grew into it. He became the fans' favourite as well. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think anyone could ever question his commitment.
Yeah.
He's always seems to be available, which people may take for granted. But if you look at this season with certain individuals,
in terms of
it's hampered us.
Is what you mean, don't you?
Yeah. Definitely. So, and that's a good thing. And I think, some of the passing he's got on him.
Yeah,
I think but I just think with a little bit more work with him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he needs to lose weight, but what I'm saying is if he was a little bit trimmer, which having a good preseason in America probably will help, may improve his speed, maybe.
Okay. Interesting. It was a no-brainer for me. It was going to be Doyle. He was obviously once he got back in after that red card and that little rest, he did seem to have a bit of a bit of almost like a mini pre-season, I'm sure.
I think Parky said that on the doc, actually.
Yeah. So no brainer for me, Doyle. But don't forget in the live chat or in the comments, let us know either all of the categories or any of the individual categories that you want to talk about. Put your nominations in. So that's an easy one. Do we do player of the season now? Let's do player of the season. I don't think it matters what order we do it in. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to do?
Yeah, you go first. Go on. Alternate.
I'm not being influenced by anything that happened at the end of the year because obviously there was a separate award ceremony. But my player of the year, because of the fact he was important in big games. I think he was important to Phil Parkinson because he was captain for a while. And also because I already liked him as a player and I thought he could be successful here was Josh Windass. I think he was really important in the end. Both the goals and the assists. And I think he drives... I don't think people will talk about this enough. I think he drives standards off the field because he's quite ambitious. So for me, it was Josh Windass.
Yeah, exactly the same. And when you do things like this, you have a chance to go back to the start of the season. The documentary helps you with that. But if you look at if you look at the 3 assists he did for Kiefer in the Coventry game,
yes,
I don't believe we've got anyone in our squad who could do that by him.
I agree. Those passes were, I agree.
And just his general, you got to remember his coolness in front of goal. You know, you think of West Brom away as well.
Last game when he blazed.
Well, over. yeah. But West Brom away, good finish. The Sheffield United away, I remember, doesn't, it's all different. Nothing phases him. Because we've had some, well, let's just say, look at the difference between him and Ryan Hardy in front of goal.
Wow. Okay. I get it. I do get it. No, I agree. We're in sync there. All right, let's touch on something then, because obviously we've had new players in this season. So, who was your signing of the season?
I've gone with Dom Hyam.
Interesting. Okay, I understand exactly why, but go on. You can explain it if you want. You don't have to, but you can explain it.
Obviously, we had Microphone Man start the season, and it wasn't going to plan at all. Not very often, I would say, on money-wise either, but for what we paid for him, somebody at Blackburn obviously didn't value him very, very much.
Yeah, is it about $1.5 million or 2 million or something like that?
Yeah, 2 million I think I got. But I think he's just been, as a leader, I think he's had a very good season. I think he needed that break at a little point, which he obviously got at Birmingham, which coincided with one of our worst performances, but he could have had a break before that. You might have had to play against Chelsea or, just different dynamics, but he's led from the front. And I think it's no surprise for me that he made the Scotland squad. I think I read it that Wrexham's Dom Hyam makes it instead of Grant Hanley. He must be 38, is he, or something like that?
Yeah, and he hardly kicked the ball, did he? I think.
And there was another one, and I just thought, if you've watched him, which obviously we've had privy to a lot this season, he deserves his spot in the squad. Okay,
I think I think nearly everybody apart from me would have given Dom Hyam that signing of the season award, and I'll tell you for why I didn't give it to him is because I don't know what the word is. We looked a bit of a disaster. Then Dom Hyam came in and steadied the ship. But I don't think he necessarily fixed the problem. And I think we were talking about it on the podcast the other week. And I said, he's got a year left on his contract. Don't be surprised if Parky brings in another centre-back and bumps Hyam down a notch. Because I think they are going to try and sort that defence out because it wasn't good enough. Clearly, was it? So I didn't give it to Dom Hyam. I would have given it to the player who was my player of the season because we signed him in this season as well. So I would give it to Windass. But I think I'm in the minority. I think 90% of people would have given it to Dom Hyam. But I just don't, when you see that defence and still the goals that we were conceding, I think if he'd have carried on, do you remember when he first came in and we looked a lot better? If we'd have carried on like that, I think he would have walked away with that award for me, and maybe even the Player of the Year award that the club did. But the fact that we were still ropey at the end, that's why I thought I'd have given it to Josh. So that's why I've given him two. I've given you 2 trophies, Josh. We've got just a couple left: the season highlight and a season low light. Which one do you want to do first?
Or are we doing the goal?
Oh, have we got goal of the season? Let's do goal of the season. Sorry, we've got 3 left. If it's not Ollie Rathbone against QPR, I don't know what are we doing.
I'm sorry.
You've given it to Matty James, haven't you?
Derby away, Matty James, yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I do get it.
I was on my sick bed. I was ill. I couldn't go to the game. I had a ticket. I had to sell it. And I remember just seeing it. And they showed an angle from like in the Derby end at the sat on the side. And it was like it went like a rocket. And then they went behind the goal and you've seen it again. And I thought, wow, technique. Yeah. And again, is that how many people you think to yourself, how many people in our squad could do that? You know, and you're scrambling around. Maybe Josh Windass could, but I just think the velocity, the power he got on it, the accuracy.
Yeah, it was a great goal.
The Derby keeper, listen, you could have told him where it was going. He still ain't getting there.
No.
Postage stamp, that was.
Yeah, no, I went for Ollie Rathbone because of the importance in the game and the comeback and the fact that I was in Paris for that one. I was watching via VPN Airways, although I didn't have to because I was in Paris. It got me off my hotel bed, that, the drama of that game and snatching it. And I just thought it was a really decent hit. And that's why it was not necessarily the purity of the goal. It was what it meant to the game and everything. So that's why I went with Ollie Rathbones for that one. Right, season highlight, season low light. What do you want? And your low light can be anything. It can be a game. It can be an individual's performance. It can be whatever you want it to be.
If we go low, then we can finish on a high, can't we?
Oh, perfect. Yes, let's do that.
Right. So my low is losing 2 Welsh derbies.
Oh, you've put 2 Welsh derbies. Okay.
Yeah. The Cardiff one hurt a lot more, obviously.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know we had 3 games in a week, and I've heard it all, and I've heard what Parky said, but
Richie's not.
We haven't played them for a long, long, long time. And if you're as old as me and you, we remember the battles against Cardiff when we went up. We went second; they were top in the league, Division 3. So remember all these rivalries, the FA Cup game, the Welsh Cup games at the old stadium. That was a big one for me. That was, and then obviously just losing to Swansea in general. Anyway, but I think we haven't had it for so long, and when we get that opportunity, losing them to obviously sweeten the blow by beating Swansea at home, but losing to our national rivals.
We're on the same track, but I went with the Cardiff performance. So I understand totally what you're saying, but it was we stunk the place out in that Cardiff game. I was so disappointed. You can accept losing, can't you? And it's an easy thing to say, but you can accept losing because anybody can beat anybody in football. We see it in cup games all the time, don't we? But the manner of that performance, it was abject, wasn't it? And I had a similar feeling. Was it 1 or 2 years ago when we lost to Shrewsbury in that cup game?
Yeah.
And that was similarly not great, but that Cardiff game really stunk the place out. And walking out that tech end that night, listening to people like how angry they were about, like, I never want to see Ryan Longman play for Wrexham again. And there was lots of comments like that. That game really hurt people. So it was the performance really against Cardiff, which obviously also resulted in a loss. You
just reminded me of something there when you've just said comments.
Oh yeah.
I've got to add to that. Don't say we've explained to the players how big a game it is. They go hand in hand with both of ours. Don't say that.
Yes. We did make comments about that on here at the time as well, didn't we? The irony of that, which we have said in every local derby or rivalry game that we've played, interestingly as well, because I seem to remember us saying that about the Shrewsbury games. And obviously we won 1 in the cup, but That's and we did win one of the league games, but that other loss at Shrewsbury, we had all the same chat as well, didn't we? So yeah, no, I get it. I do get it. Season highlight then. What was your?
Oh, you go for this one. We said we'd alternates. Yeah.
What was peak? And again, it can be anything. I didn't explain really. I guess before I just sent you these. It could be anything. There's like there's Arthur's penalty saves. There's just being in the Championship. We saw some great goals. We've been to some great stadiums. But I think for me, it was just nice to become. I just thought the highlight for me was just being competitive in the Championship and not looking out of place, even though it was a ropey early start, but I expected it. So I was just, for me, it was just being competitive, not being in a relegation scrap, and at one point looking like we might make the playoffs. So I just thought the highlight for me was just that general, being competitive in the Championship.
So I'll read you word for word. I've put seeing my team Wrexham in the highest position I have ever seen them play in the league in my life.
Yeah, that's a bit more succinct than what I sort of said. But the highest finish that we've ever had. So I think it was just because it's not just one moment either, is it? It's a result of everything over the course of the season. So.
But obviously we've been grown up, and we have people say to us, don't they? The team of the 70s. People always say that, refer that to us. Yeah, always say that. And I know Dixie quite well, and they tell you the stories and that whatever. But if you think on when in 25 years' time, depending on what happens, we can always say, well, I remember the first year back in the Championship. Yeah. We were there, and we've got our memories from there as well.
Yeah. No, I agree. So there you go. As I said, there's a few people in the live chat who've put some of theirs in. But if you're watching this and we're not live, put them in the comments. Richie's got his tennis towel out because he's so warm. And let us know what your sort of awards were in those categories and stuff. Right, are we done?
I think so, yeah. I think.
Are you going to be watching TST this weekend? Obviously, it's. Does it kick off tomorrow? It might even kick off tomorrow.
Yeah, I think are they on lunchtime tomorrow? Maybe.
Yeah, I haven't looked too much.
So we'd see all the Fletch, obviously Chomp, and all the ringers.
Ringers in Jagielka, Lafondra,
Douglas,
Speedo, yeah,
Dorrans. So we'll see them play. But interesting. I didn't know. But I've checked up on the rules. So there's 4 quarters, isn't there?
That's right.
So then they rotate, obviously. So the women will start.
Team in this time.
Yeah. So the women will start. Then the men come on. Then they rotate again, and then it's the same as when it's not golden goal, but target time.
Target time, they call it. Yeah.
When it goes from down to 6, the sexes will swap.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's if I'm at a loose end and it happens to be on, I'll watch it, but I don't go out my way to watch it because I don't really associate it as being a Wrexham team. What do they call them? Do they call them Wrexham Red Dragons or something? Or Wrexham Dragons, something like that. Because of the fact that obviously I know we've got Rosie there. Obviously, Mark Howard used to play for us, and Fletcher used to play for us. But it's basically somebody's phone book, isn't it? It's somebody's phone book. Yeah. Somebody's gone. Right, let's get a couple of people together. Who can we get to come out? And so from that point, it doesn't engage me because it's not really. But Fletcher will do really well at it because I think he's still got the skills. I reckon he'll score a few goals.
Yeah, it's changed a bit, isn't it? Because when obviously Morel and Trundle went out, and then we had the young lads went out, didn't we? Is it Louis Lloyd? Or
I can't remember. That was the second year, was it?
Yeah, they went. He's got on and played for. He went to Carnarvon, I think. So some of the young lads went out in there, didn't they? And that was a big thing. Because that's a big part. That's a big story. That it's nice to see that we've had some come through the academy, and they mix it up with some of what we would call legends to me and you, aren't they?
Yeah.
Definitely. So, but we've been drawn Southampton in our group, haven't they?
I haven't even looked at who's in our groups. So
Sneaky FC. So
it's scouted, are they? But no, it's. I mean, the problem you've got is if you want to win it, you can't roll out your legends, can you? That's the reality, because they're all street footballers, and they're all like mid-20s, actively playing sort of in some sort of level. I think. So Wrexham, it's almost like a PR exercise, really, isn't it? And from that perspective, like the under-19s ladies, where obviously women went out to do the Hong Kong Sevens, looked like they had a riot. To be honest, I know they didn't get anywhere as such, but they lost 2 games, won 1. But they look like they had a really good time. They'll have really grown from that experience. If you look at the photos and stuff that they've been posted on Instagram, they look like they've had a really good time. So that's a really useful development tool. Now, ironically, most of them aren't going to be able to put that into action for Wrexham because obviously the lack of 19 side.
Yeah.
But at least they were, a majority, they were all our players, weren't they?
Well, yeah, and obviously it's dipping our toe in a different market we've never been to. Because I was hoping that's where we may go this pre-season.
There's lots of rumours. Of rumours the tour was Asia. Yeah.
And with this, obviously, I think a lot of people didn't think America because the World Cup's happening.
Yes. Yeah, well, that was the talk, wasn't it? That was the chat. That's why it wouldn't be that. But teams are going regardless. But having said that, it's so expensive to watch a bloody World Cup game, Richie. You'd be better to go and watch Wrexham. And it's about $200 to watch Wrexham play. But that'll be cheaper than the amount of posts I've seen from people, mainly over the last 24 hours, talking about the World Cup. And the thousands of dollars they're trying to charge for a ticket. And I did write on X before. I was like, I honestly hope the stadiums are half empty and FIFA get embarrassed by the fact that they've tried to take the mickey out of the American market or the North American market, just because that market is used to paying NFL prices. That isn't justification to now start to asking them to do the same to watch football games. I think it's disgraceful the way they're being treated, and that our fans are being treated, having to spend. I know you're forget it from a Welsh point of view, but like England and Scotland fans are obviously paying a lot of money to get over there, and then having to pay fortunes for tickets. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, and it's as much as they say more nations are there, whatever. At least with the NFL, I know it's obviously there's no relegation, but you should be guaranteed to watch a decent game. Some of these teams who are qualified,
we might see 5, 6, 7-0 in some of those group games.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I know football's about seeing goals, but you do want to see a bit of quality.
You want to see a competitive game as well.
Yeah, but I just hope UEFA are watching. So that obviously the next Euros, which obviously is in Britain, they could maybe embarrass FIFA a little bit. Oh,
yeah, interesting. Are you still there?
Battery's just gone.
Oh, all right. You jump out, then I'll wrap up. In fact, I'll kick you out. I don't know, your battery on your phone's gone. I'll message you in a minute just to catch up with you. But let's let Richie go. I'll wrap us up there. Sorry, we got caught up in some FIFA outrage then. So right, thanks very much, everybody. Really appreciate a lot of people obviously picking up the new channel and subscribing. That's much appreciated. I did post in the chat before, just for sort of non-Wrexham sporting events and watch-alongs. I've put another channel in there that I've got so that I can keep some of the sport and other watch-alongs separate. So I've got a separate YouTube channel for that stuff as well, which is earlier in the comments and in the chat as well. So if you would support that channel, that would be much appreciated, because I will be more active on there as the World Cup and stuff kicks off over the summer. I hope, yes, Liz, well remembered. Like the video, everybody. That likes and comments and chat engagement with the videos will help. The problem that we have now is that the old channel was, because we did have a decent number of subscribers, it would get pushed out to people a lot more than what the new channel is, because it's so small compared to the old one. So people engaging with the channel, sharing it, liking it, hyping it, that will help us as we try and recover our viewership. So yes, please do that. Thanks for the people who got in the live chat. It's always much appreciated. Hopefully the Eat More Chips boys will have a podcast out tomorrow, normally about 1 o'clock. So make sure you're following them on socials and see what they put out. And try and, well, if you're in the UK, try and get through tonight, because the temperature will drop a little bit. But enjoy your weekend, and we'll come back at some point next week, and we'll do a bit more. Right, go about your evening, everybody. Thanks very much.